South Korea's military says North Korea test-fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles Thursday off its east coast.
The launch came as the U.S. and South Korea wrapped up a 5th round of joint military drills near the Korean border. The North criticized those joint exercises as, quote, provocative and irresponsible. This is North Korea's first launch in a little bit more than 2 weeks. You'll remember late last month, North Korea attempted to fire a long-range rocket carrying a spy satellite, but it crashed. We want to bring in now CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes for more. Nancy, the White House previously called on North Korea to stop these launches. This often happens. Obviously, that has no effect. So what more is the Biden administration prepared to do?
So the Biden administration announced today a couple of sanctions on 2 individuals who are North Koreans but who are based in China, who the U.S. says are involved with North Korea's nuclear program. There's no indication that that's going to have much of any effect on North Korea. The North Koreans don't have a foothold in the U.S. economy. They don't rely on the U.S. economy. Certainly, they aren't a trading partner of the United States. So how those sanctions might affect either these individuals or the North Korean nuclear program itself, it's unclear. But nevertheless, this is Washington's response. The U.S. and the South Koreans put out a statement saying that the launch was irresponsible and that it was unacceptable. But the North Koreans did signpost that they were going to do something like this. They were angry that the U.S. and the South Koreans were engaged in drills off the coast today, and the North Koreans said that they would respond. And then about an hour later, they launched these 2 short-range missiles.
Nancy, I'm curious if the President Biden or the Biden administration sees any value in direct conversation with North Korea or a potential meeting with Kim Jong-un. We know that the reluctance is to elevate such a dictator, but are those options open?
Well, the president's aides have said that he actually is willing to speak with Kim Jong-un, and the president reiterated that. He said as long as the North Korean leader was serious and sincere, that he would be willing to speak with him without preconditions. That was actually a change from the president's position when he was on the campaign trail. The North Koreans, White House officials say, have not taken them up on that offer. And, it's really difficult to say what kind of influence the U.S. could possibly have to get North Korea to either limit or stop its nuclear program at this point. We don't have any kind of economic relationship with the North Koreans. And we certainly don't want to engage in any kind of military conflict with the North Koreans. So at this point, the options for either diplomatic engagement or any other kind of pressure on the North Koreans is very slim.
Well, we do know that Kim Jong-un certainly relies very heavily on China and their influence. So it's possible some of the other things that are happening behind the scenes upcoming from the White House might have an influence on that. Switching gears, though, President Biden is making a push today against hidden junk fees. What can you tell us about that, Nancy?
Right. So this has been something of a crusade for this White House for a while. The president talked about it in his State of the Union address. The goal of getting all kinds of service companies to root out hidden fees, junk fees. You know what we're talking about. It's when you go to book a hotel room and there's a resort fee that you didn't know about that is hefty that gets added on at the end, or you go to buy tickets for a concert and then there are convenience charges that sometimes cost half of what the ticket itself costs. So today the president is sitting down with the leaders of a bunch of companies that you've probably heard of: SeatGeek, Airbnb, Live Nation, companies like that have already committed to putting in place the kinds of changes that he's calling for, to either post those fees up front when you go to make a purchase, or to just work them into the cost of the item itself so you aren't surprised, and so that you can comparison shop more easily when you're looking to plan your next vacation or your next concert.
Yeah, no one likes those surprise
They are so
fees.
frustrating.
They're all over the place. Nancy Cordes, appreciate you joining us. Thanks.
You got it.